So you can expect that what we are building at the core is about interoperability and scale so that community members can really get the best of what the Web3 can enable.
Good evening, ladies. There's a new interview from the CEO, the newly founded CEO, well, new enough CEO of Yuga. So I want to go through some points that he said, some interesting things, kind of alpha, but more so just the vision for Otherside, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and Yuga in general. Let's stop wasting time and let's just go through the interview with Daniel Allegre. So the first piece of news is that Yuga Labs have appointed a new CTO 4 months ago, Daniel Allegre. You can see Daniel Allegre used to be the president and chief operating officer of Activision, probably the biggest gaming company in the world. Maybe Tencent is bigger, I'm not sure. But yeah, everyone knows what Activision is. So he was the COO of that. And yeah, pretty much we can see where the direction of Otherside is going. I think Otherside is kind of Yuga's main focus at the moment and will be for the next few years. But their new CTO, this is only in the last week, is Mike Sievers. He was the vice president of Epic Games and some other title in Riot Games. So Epic Games created like Fortnite, Unreal Engine, etc. And then Riot Games had like some of the biggest games of all time, including League of Legends and Valorant. Like, I don't know, I've never played those games, but they're enormous games. And you can kind of see the ties that they could have to the likes of like Legends of Zamara, Bored Ape Yacht Club's upcoming game, and of course Otherside, and any other games that they'll release in the future. So as I mentioned, Daniel Allegre just did an interview with CoinDesk, and he also has done an interview with Overpriced JPEG's Carly Riley, which isn't out yet, but the CoinDesk interview is up on Twitter, which I'll link below, and here's some things that he said in that interview that I found quite interesting. First, he was asked like one of the biggest questions in the entire the question everyone wants to know, and that of course is, what is a coda, or more specifically, what the fuck is a coda? So he's asked what is a coda, and he responded saying, something you must have. So yeah, if anyone, I think codas are about 7 ETH right now, so that's a pretty big investment for most people. But yeah, they used to be 40 Ethereum, they used to be $100,000, now they're like $15,000, so relatively maybe they're a little bit cheap at the moment. But yeah, obviously that doesn't give us a huge amount of insight on what it is, but let's see what else he said that kind of gives the vision of, he seems extremely ambitious. So another quote he said, or the question was, what would be your vision to get 215 million monthly active users? So like 100 million monthly active users. You know, probably on the level like Snapchat or something. That's kind of the monthly active users that they have. And he said, well, that would be undershooting where I want this to go. So it's always nice that we have kind of a bull or someone who's extremely ambitious on the team, actually leading the team with a lot of experience. So if we know like Yuga Labs, they have a great founding team, Crypto Garga, Gordon Goner, and Nicole Muniz. But the CTO they've all stepped kind of down, not like being the executive officers anymore, because, you know, they don't have 20 years of experience being executive officers of enormous gaming companies. But these guys that they've just hired, like, they're bringing on really high level talent to actually lead this company to the next leg. And like, obviously the founders are incredible, but they need people who like have that experience essentially to be able to create the Otherside that they want. So yeah, really interesting to see that. Another piece of information which I found interesting in an interview with Crypto Garga is he said that the ecosystem grew by 40% after the Dookie Dash. So if you remember the Dookie Dash, it was that endless runner game, and that increased the ecosystem by 40%. What does that mean? It means there was 40% increase in the number of wallets, and we can guess that means the number of people in the Yuga Labs / Bored Ape Yacht Club universe. And he said that was one of the things he was most happy with the Dookie Dash. That kind of gives you a sense of where their focus is. Their focus really is on growing the ecosystem, growing the number of people who are involved or who own a piece of the ecosystem. Like, that's probably one of the reasons that they just keep dropping more and more NFTs. Like, they have almost 500,000 different NFTs now. So probably, I think it is the biggest ecosystem by number of NFTs. Maybe what's that project? Punk's Comic, maybe they have more NFTs, but like hundreds of thousands of NFTs nevertheless. And so you can see Yuga Labs are the only ones who have done this success. Yuga Labs are the only ones who've done this successfully. Like every other project who's just continually released NFTs, like pretty much all those NFTs became worthless over time. But because Yuga Labs are incorporating gaming, they're incorporating original and new experiences with these NFTs, and you don't really know what's coming next, and it usually is something really interesting whatever it does eventually come. That means these airdrops or these new NFTs are still actually worth something. But yeah, that really gives you an idea of where their focus is. They really want to grow the community massively. Like right now there's probably, you know, maybe 10, 20, 30,000 people in the entire Yuga Labs ecosystem, and they want to get to 100 million plus eventually. So they're going to need a lot of NFTs in order to do that. But I guess in the other side, you know, we won't necessarily need to own an NFT to be involved in the other side. Like the more people that are on the other side, the more fun it's going to be, because it's kind of like, just like with Facebook, the more people are on Facebook, the more friends you have on Facebook, the more there is a desire to go on Facebook yourself. And I know no one uses Facebook anymore, but like back in the day, that's why that's why it grew so fast. So in regards to, I wonder if Legends of the Mara, the upcoming 2D strategy game, is going to bring in outsiders or even just more people in the NFT space. If that is also going to grow the ecosystem, it's probably going to be something along the lines of like Clash of Clans or Farmville or League of Legends, like kind of like some sort of card game. It's some sort of strategy game. It's 2D, so we know it's a strategy game. It's not going to be like an endless runner or something where it's just quick reaction times. It's going to be, it'll probably be some sort of PvP, including your Kodamaras and your Maras. Probably we can look at Axie for some sort of similarity of what it's going to be. The news that they released in regards to Legends of the Mara, which I think was they kind of changed their mind. They had a change of plan in regards to this, but the environment tiers matter. So if you have a higher environment tier, so you can see the tiers on this NFT here, the higher environment tier, like say your environment tier is 3, that means you can have 3 workers on that piece of land. And if you just have an environment tier of 1, you can only have 1 worker on this piece of land. And originally they kind of said there's only going to be 1 worker per piece of land. So the vessels, so if you haven't been following along, these vessels are going to turn into Maras, and those Maras are going to be able to farm your other deed plots. And that's probably going to, the more you farm on your other deed, that's going to help you in the Legends of the Mara strategy game. So the higher your tier on your other deed, the more workers you're going to be able to have. And that led to a bit of a pump in the vessels, because people thought, I can only have 1 vessel per land plot. There's no point in me having, if I only have 1 other deed, there's no point in me having 2 vessels. But now that if your other deed has space for more vessels, then that's why there was a little bit of a pump in the vessels. But that environment tier only matters for Hunter Maras and Farmer Maras, because the Enchanter Maras, the Enchanters, they don't work the land. They do have another role that we don't know what their exact role is yet, but they're the most rare ones. Last piece of news, we just had another kind of sneak peek of what the evolution of the heavy metal collection is going to turn into next. And as I said, like, I bought a heavy metal in my last video, or a couple of videos ago. I mentioned I bought a heavy metal because the evolution was supposed to happen in April, but it was delayed. So yeah, great timing for me, but nevertheless, they delayed it because they said there's so many different combinations, and here's like a sneak preview of what they're going to look like, and they're pretty cool, and they're very excited about, like, it looks like they're kind of very much focused on the art for this collection. They really want them to look really cool. So there's up to 1 trillion different combinations, and you know, that's just because you know how that works essentially, like this combination multiplied by this combination multiplied by this combination. So, but nevertheless, there's a lot of different combinations. But yeah, it looks like they're cooking up something very cool with the mech, so excited for that. And it's probably, well, it will be dropped in May. I don't think they'll delay it twice, so that's something to look forward to. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the interview with Carly Rayleigh, with the new CEO of Yuga Labs, and it's probably going to be out by the time you watch this video, so I'll link it in the description, and the interview that I mentioned at the start of this video with Coinbase, I'll also link in the description for you. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. See you later.